All right, welcome everybody. Thank you so much for joining us for the Western Canal preliminary design second round of public feedback. This is our first meeting of today. Our second one will be held in person at Suave Park at 5:30 today. And for the other round of feedback that we conducted in May, information for that can be found on our webpage, and I will post that in the chat in a second. Just a few housekeeping items. If you could keep your questions and comments until the end of the presentation so we could get a clean recording, that would be great. And without further ado, I'll pass it to Lindsay Post, our Senior Transportation Planner, to take it away. And Lindsay, if you want to share the presentation.
Yep, I'll do that now if you'll just let me know that you can see it.
Yep, I can see it. Thank you so much.
Can you see it in presentation mode?
Yes.
Great. Okay, thanks, Morgan. Something's happening with my screen. Good afternoon, everyone. As Morgan introduced, my name is Lindsay Post. I'm a Senior Transportation Planner with the Transportation and Sustainability Department and the project manager for this preliminary design project. Also joining us today is our consulting partner, Bridger Helms with Kittleson and Associates. The city of Tempe was successful in getting a design assistance grant from the Maricopa Association of Governments, or MAG, which funded this preliminary design project. We first came to the public to introduce the project and get neighborhood feedback on desired features back in May. And thank you all for joining us if you were at that meeting last time. This project will interline with the City of Phoenix's Phase 2 of their canalscape improvements on 48th Street. So that's represented on the map shown in the blue lines. And then it'll also directly interline with ADOT's pedestrian bridge over I-10 at the Arizona Mills Mall, represented in the green dotted line you see.
City Hall.
And I've got a little bit of feedback, Morgan. Thank you. This project is only funding a preliminary design. So I want to remind everybody that we do not yet have funding for final design or construction. City of Phoenix recently held their public meeting about their canal improvements, and for more information on their proposed design or to take their survey until November 14th, please visit phoenix.gov. I'd like to briefly review what the Western Canal looks like today. This project has been identified as a community priority in previous transportation plans. We completed the existing Western Canal path in phases, with the first segment being completed in 2010, and the latest segment, east to Highline Canal, being completed in 2020. Currently, users can easily connect to the Highline Canal and Kyrene Canal systems as shown on this map. The blue lines that you see on the map represent multi-use paths, and this project extends the canal in the top left corner where I've put the icon for the Arizona Mills Mall. So this project will address that final missing gap. This is the canal, the canal portion of our project. This is facing east towards I-10. What you see here is how it exists today. So on the left is the canal path. On the right is the alleyway that was served by Public Works Solid Waste Division. They picked up trash along the alley until very recently. Separate from this project, the Solid Waste Division made the change to do pickup service on the street side. So we no longer compete with solid waste pickup on that alleyway. In the center of the picture, you see a sort of a berm, and that is a dirt area that SRP built to keep residential traffic off of the canal path because they use that to access and need clearance for their purposes. And this is Windler Drive looking north. On the east side of the picture is ADOT's right of way, and on the west is Tempe's South Mountain neighborhood, which is in the Tempe Diablo Double Butte character area. And then behind this image is the connection to ADOT's pedestrian bridge over I-10 connecting to Arizona Mills Mall and the rest of the existing canal path multi-use, Western Canal multi-use path. We received great feedback from our first round of public input with about 45 respondents when we first surveyed you back in May of this year. There was overwhelming support for shade and lighting, with many emphasizing the need for a safe feeling design. We also learned that residents whose properties directly abut the canal and alley wanted to ensure RVs and other large vehicles could also navigate the alley space and could turn into and out of their RV gates. And now is preliminary design. Since we had consistent feedback in the first round of public meeting and survey, we were able to bring forward one design concept for the entire project area, and I'll show that to you now. So this is what we call a cross-section view. This shows the Western Canal, the canal section of our project. The key features include a 10-foot multi-use path along the canal pathway for people walking, biking, rolling, however you recreate. There is a 10-foot improved alleyway with durable aggregate surface to ensure that local residents can continue to drive on the aggregate base shown there. There is a 6-foot amenity zone in the middle, which includes or could include landscaping and shade trees, with the caveat that shade trees and landscaping on this area would need to be approved by SRP. It could include fencing and shielded lighting. We heard that one of the desires would be for lighting to not pollute the neighbors that abut the canal. And just to remind you that we do need to maintain a minimum light level, so that shield is how we can better direct and ensure you don't get light pollution in your property. And here's a before and after, so you can see them both together of the canal and the proposed canal improvements. Remember that this is just a conceptual rendering. We would still do final design once we get to that phase and engage you all again. And then there's one more view. And you can see a little bit better of what the alley side looks like. We'd like to remind you that the fence that we put in as a conceptual rendering is just a concept. That could include public art, or it could just be a standalone fence that would also be worked through in final design. And this shows you that an RV can still navigate the alley space and is able to turn in and out of RV gates. So that's an RV being pulled by a truck. And this shows you what the current conditions of the Western Canal portion looks like today. This is a very wide local street with a 4-foot sidewalk on the west side, no sidewalk on the east side, and currently vehicles can park on both sides of Windler Drive in this section. And it is adjacent to the ADOT right-of-way that you see the large dirt lot there in the picture. And this is a cross-section of the Windler Drive conceptual design. So as you can see here, this features a 10-foot multi-use path, 11-foot landscaped buffer that allows for stormwater, green stormwater infrastructure. There is no parking on the east side of the roadway and reduced roadway width. We hope this is a visual narrowing of that roadway that cues drivers to slow down. We also hope this eliminates some of the behaviors that we learned from the neighbors in this area who described behaviors from drivers like quickly and aggressively making U-turns to navigate our neighborhood in this area. And here is a before and after with what it looks like today and what it could look like with this conceptual rendering shown. And then this next slide just shows it in a larger scale. Remember that during a future final design phase, which we don't have funding for now, we would, of course, keep engaging the public on the desired features. And this slide is our proposed landscaping palette. As I mentioned, we need to make sure that the landscaping that goes along the canal portion of our project is approved by SRP. All of these plants are listed on the approved plant list by SRP. We also wanted to make sure that we did our best to match some of the plants that were planted in the recently refreshed Wendler Drive Rain to Roots project, where the pedestrian pathway is. And then some additional features are shown here. So we can consider public art in the final design. As I mentioned before, public art can be its own installation like this, or we can incorporate it into the fencing. That's something we would work on with you during the final design phase once we get there. We would remember that lighting would be required for safety, but the type of lighting can be considered during a final design phase. And then some of the feedback that we heard from the neighbors is to consider incorporating not only wayfinding that tells the users of that path what path they're on, but since some users will be coming from the city of Phoenix's pathway, we got some feedback to consider a gateway sign of some sort or something that ties into the Diablo Double Butte character area. So I wanted to show something similar on Highline Canal, what we could consider together during final design. The draft project assessment, which will include the feedback you provide today, will be delivered to the city of Tempe for review in December. And again, a reminder that we don't have funding for further design or construction. This preliminary design will allow us to be more competitive for regional, state, or federal funding. So I use this design to show would-be grantors that we have a feasible project with community consensus ready for final design. It shows them that we are ready to accept funds. So thank you for your input so far. We also have our public survey, which is open now till November 19th. My contact information is shown on this slide. You can scan the QR code on this page to take you directly to the survey, or you can visit tempe.gov/Western Canal to view other project materials. One document that we couldn't easily show you here is available on our webpage, and it will be shown at tonight's in-person public meeting at 5:30 at Svaab Park. It is the large roll plot, which shows all the proposed improvements in the entire project area in one large document. You can find that under the documents section of our webpage now. We hope to see you tonight at 5:30. But for now, Morgan, I welcome any comments or questions from the attendees.
Alrighty, and just so everyone knows, I posted the survey link in the chat as well, so you can just click the link and it will take you right to it. I don't see anything in the chat, but feel free to come off mute if you'd like to ask any questions or provide any comments, or if you prefer, you can type them into the chat and I'd be happy to read them aloud. Sounds like we're pretty quiet today.
I did want to remind folks, because the time is changing, our days are getting shorter. The Ramada where we'll have the public meeting tonight is very well lit. We're also going to bring bug spray because we're all getting eaten alive by the mosquitoes. So for your comfort, please do join us tonight, and we'll have all that ready for you.
Thanks, Lindsay. Alrighty, well, I don't see any comments or questions, but if anyone does have any that come up, like Lindsay's slide showed, our contact information is there, or go to the website and feel free to provide your input. Please let your friends, neighbors know about the survey. We'd love to get as much feedback as we can, and thank you so much for joining us today. Have a great day.
Thanks, everyone.